going on, guys? Today I've got for you a Ninja adjustable tank regulator. This one was purchased secondhand, and I wanted to go over some things that you should look at if you do decide to buy a regulator secondhand. I snagged this one off eBay for an extremely good price. I'm hoping that the seat is in good condition so I can throw it on my little peanut tank. We'll go through and rebuild it either way, so we know that it's in good condition and it's gonna service us well out on the field and we won't have any issues. Now this guy coming in, as you can see, extremely well protected, a huge box, lots of overpack with the bubble wrap. So we're gonna get this guy out of here and check out what we have, see if it's true to form what the eBay pictures showed, and it's looking like it's in great condition. So let's hit some highlights of what I think needs to happen when you purchase a regulator secondhand. So when you're looking for parts, you want to check out what versions they are. So I knew that this would be a newer regulator, even if the listing wasn't described correctly because of the pin valve. So it had either been updated or it was one of their newest regulators. I knew it hadn't been used long, so that was just something to look for. Second is you're going to want to make sure all the components of the regulator are there. Make sure the set screws are there, make sure the fill valve is there, the burst discs are in the correct location, that everything is tightened. This gauge was just sitting in there, so I'll pull that off to be able to tighten that on later. Now that we've got the set screws all the way out, we're going to remove the bonnet portion of this and check for damage. You want to check for sliding, movement, where those set screws make contact with the body, see if there's any bad scratches. Pull the spring out, there's no moisture damage. Again, we're going to check for all the parts. Pull the piston out. Those O-rings will be swapped, and this is the quality of the regulator seat. It's looking fantastic. The springs in there, the pins in there, and then we're gonna dig in the body of this guy and see if we have all the shims. There should be a silver on the bottom. There should be a couple red shims on top, depending on how it came from factory. 1, 2, and awesome, 3. So we're going to leave the silver in, which should leave us at about 450, 500 output PSI. So that's where I want it. Those guys will go in my spares bin, and then we will reassemble after we clean out some portions of this. As you're taking something apart, you want to make sure to check to see if you could find the failure point of why it was being sold. That urethane O-ring was extremely gummy, could have led to a leak, it could have led to poor performance, the reason they were getting rid of it. That way when you're kind of contrasting the issues that they describe versus the issues that you find, you can kind of check the box and say, okay, that issue is taken care of, and hopefully you'll have more success when you get it all put together in the end. Just something to keep in mind, your tank regulator, in my opinion, should be serviced more often than the regulator on your gun. Your tank regulator is more open to foreign bodies or debris. As you're at the fill station, you get dirt in your fill nipple, it gets injected into your regulator in your tank. Because you put that fill whip on it and just throws the dirt in there. So regularly servicing your tank is something that I've noticed a lot of people don't like to do, but it's a necessary part of maintaining your equipment and keep it in good standing order. So you're going to want to lube both of the O-rings on here, making sure to use a fully synthetic grease. Never use any petroleum-based greases, especially in high-pressure situations where you got 4,500 pounds on one side, regulating it down to anywhere from 300 to 900 psi. So some more cleaning before we put the pin and spring back in. As a side note, and something that I don't do in this video, you'll want to check your burst discs, and maybe that's something I can cover in a later date to show you what a burst disc looks like. But any field that you go to should have extras or spares of those for their rentals or for ones that they sell in their pro shop. So if you air it up and you get a huge leak coming from those, you'll know you want to replace them. Luckily, you've got a lot of options as far as grease is concerned. Pretty much just want to use Dow Corning 33. There's a lot of repackaged options that's basically Dow 33, like the Planet Eclipse grease. Making sure to get these O-rings well coated and making sure to keep the seat grease free. So we're going to slide the piston back in there and then pull it out because I forgot the spring. And reassemble. Pin, spring. Make sure the bonnet's lined up. Make sure you guys remove the set screws all the way to avoid any scratching on the regulator body. That's no good. Set screws go back in. These guys need to be fairly tight. So you're removing your gun from your tank and you don't drag that bonnet across the regulator body. Make sure to use the non-ball end of your Allen key. Get that nice and tight. And that's also another reason why the rebuild kits from Ninja come with new set screws, so you can replace those and they don't strip. So in this situation, I like to use Teflon tape. They use black Teflon tape from the factory. I just have the white stuff, no big deal. Keeps the surfaces protected and it makes them come off easier, avoiding any buildup in the threads, any stiction later down the road. I'm trying to get this thing apart. If I crack the gauge, I need to replace it. So I'm just going to use white Teflon tape, putting it at the base of the threads, threading it in nice and snug, and then using a flat adjustable wrench to snug those down. Now, if this is your first time using it, it helps me to have the component that I'm wrapping in my right hand and bringing the tape back towards me like you see I'm doing. So as you're tightening it, the tape will continuously roll into the threads and won't become undone. If you do it the other way, you try and screw it in and it's gonna kind of unthread the tape as you're screwing it in. So we've got it in there nice and tight. Now we're going to, wrench is too small. So I'm gonna get the big guy. I'm gonna tighten this guy down. Remember that if you're using something this big, don't crank it. You'll crack the glass. You will bend the housing, which I've done before, unfortunately. And then once you get it tight, make sure the gauge is straight, if that matters to you. And then we are done. You probably also want to replace the 1590 O-rings on the tip of the regulator. But these look like they're in excellent condition as well. So I'm going to save that for a later date. And that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. If you like this, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.